doing an early stage startup to get rich, it's the worst way to get rich. Please don't do it. Literally, I think I read some research that if you get a nice big four or like a fancy bank job, and then just save your money and invest it in like S&P 500 low risk deal, you will end up making $1 million by like 30 or 40. I went and looked at this office in the IFC, which I love. It's a significant chunk of money.
Is it the one in the innovation one?
In the innovation, yeah. It's really nice office. But I looked at what we could do with the same amount of money, and we could go on like 6 company-wide trips with that same pot of rent. And when we pay rent, it's not really useful to us, but we do these 6 trips, maybe like 4 times, 5 times a year. Productivity will be through the roof. Everyone will be super happy. Everyone will know each other. All of it. Being a young person at a startup is really exciting. You need to be the right type of young person. We have a couple of these, and like they're my favorite people in the team. Not like I dislike anyone else in the team, but usually when I have a problem that needs to be solved, I'll go to one of these two, right? And it's really interesting because you build your team dynamic around that, right? Like I know who I need to talk to when it's an innovation product, and who I need to talk to when it's data and cybersecurity and serious stuff. And if you're able to build teams like that, you can, to some extent, navigate this lack of innovation problem, because you'll always have people who are very good at building and like putting the first iteration out, and then you'll always have some people that are really good at polishing and making it the best product it is. And you need a balance of both, right? I'm the first type. I'm very bad at doing the polishing stuff, right? If you ask me to come up with 10 ideas in a week, I'll do it, I'll enjoy it. But from that point on, I know who's on my team to do the polishing, right? And that person loves the polishing part. They love closing up the loops. They love making sure it's secure. They love making sure it can't be penetrated. So we've been able to build this team dynamic really well. And as a result, everyone gets a lot of opportunity. Because as you, of course, grow, you switch between these roles. It's not that, okay, right now I like innovating, I might like the same thing in the future. So when you work at an early stage company, you get to do all of that. But I think the bar is very high when you hire or when you get a job at an early stage company. At least at Crossval, I don't know about other founders, but most founders who do hiring themselves for like a significant role, the bar is very, very high, and the pay is significantly lower. But there's ESOPs and things that offset sort of the wealth part of the job. But honestly, even if you're doing an early stage startup to get rich, it's the worst way to get rich. Please don't do it. Literally, I think I read some research that if you get a nice big four or like a fancy bank job, and then just save your money and invest it in like S&P 500 low risk deal, you will end up making $1 million by like 30 or 40, probably 40 with the way things are. But yeah, if you want to get rich, just do that.
Yeah,
like
don't
building a startup is not a sustainable way to get rich. It's fun, it's a lot of learning, it's a skill set you will not find anywhere else. But if you're in it for the money, then you're not gonna have fun. I mean, like startups pay decent, and a lot of startups pay a lot of money as well, probably more than what like the real world pays. But
they have to be at a mature stage, right? None of
but
those
it's
seeds.
even at seed stage, right? Like we or like smaller teams can exist. Like Instagram, for example, they got sold for $1 billion when there were 12 people. I'm sure everyone on that team was making a significant chunk of money, right? Because there's just more to go around when you're a small team. It's only if you figured out money, right? Like as a business, if you figured out revenue and you figured out funding, you'll be good. But but for young people, that's not the reason you should be working at startups.
Yeah, this is what irks me a little bit, right? Like when you're on social media, like there's like 15 different people telling you to drop ship, you'll make X amount of money. You post random AI generated videos on YouTube, you'll do X amount of money, X amount of money. These X amount of money in reality is very marginal compared to you just put that a little bit of money in your S&P 500 or some of these indexes, and just relax, do your own job, your salary will come, your returns will come. You're probably going to make significantly more money in that same time span, right? So that conception of you have to start a business to be rich, or you're going to do that, is 100% wrong, completely wrong.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of pain. Like it's a lot of course risk, but it's also like painful. It's not easy, and no one will understand what you're talking about. Like even your own family will never get it if they've never built a company, and the ones who get it will tell you, "Yeah, suck it up. It's
Yeah.
tough." So there's really no like outlet when you're an entrepreneur. It is a lonely process. It is a difficult process. But anyone who does it and enjoys it means you're built for it, right? Like a lot of people don't enjoy it and are out. Like they're like, okay, no, I shut it down. It's fine. That's also a good journey to be on.
Yeah, you're
But-
at least figuring it out.
yeah,
Like, rather than
but and also no hate on like 9 to 5. I think 9 to 5s are great. Like
9 to 5 is beautiful.
Yeah,
Like if you
it's
really
awesome.
think
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah.
like you go in 9, you come out 5. That's
yeah.
right. I
No.
mean, you might be doing
if you enjoy your job,
Yeah,
there's nothing
yeah.
wrong with that, right?
Exactly.
Like the end goal of life is to be happy, not to have,
have
like
a
find
startup.
happiness through a business or like something very specific. You can be happy in any way. You can be happy unemployed. It's not a function of what
Yeah,
you-
work is not a function of happiness.
exactly
Correct.
It can be, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah, I'm unemployed. I'm very happy right now. So
It's good for you.
I'm happy for a little bit. We'll know end of the month will be. But yeah, so she does freelancing. Right? A very common problem with freelancing is also that you got to get clients regularly and everything. And at some point, you kind of get tired of it, right? Like whether whatever it is, like whether it be entrepreneurship, freelancing, or even working a 9 to 5, you will get tired of it. The quicker you figure out
Yeah.
what tires you and when you're
Yeah.
tired, the better, right? So there is completely no hate on
Yeah,
whoever's on
Absolutely
different
not.
parts. Yeah, it's
Absolutely
just
not.
different parts for different
yeah, it
people.
works better for some people, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I would say my dad, right? My dad does 9 to 5 his entire life. It's worked better for him. If I ask him to start a business, he'll be like, no.
Yeah.
Right? I'm tired. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's painful. It's not easy, but at the same time, like it's also that much more fulfilling. But it's different for different people. Like it's a very individual question, right?
Yeah.
Just because I or like Sham or anyone else finds peace from it, it's not the same. So I think just it's like the food you eat, right? Like if some people love like dal rice, some people need something fancy every day, and no one's judging the other for either of it. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's the key.
It's a
right?
part of your
It-
life.
it
It's
is.
not your whole life, right?
Correct. And most of your team, right? They're also remote, right?
Some of them are remote, some of them here.
Right. How does that work? Like, how do you find the balance because you don't see them face to face, not even once in a while? How do you navigate that situation, knowing that somebody's abroad, you have no direct communication, they have to take back your call to even ask anything? Well, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you navigate that situation?
It works really well. I love it. I don't think I could ever work in an office. Like even the part of the team that is here, I think we see each other once a week maybe. Yeah, I personally find it such a waste of time to like get in the car, go to the office.
Agree.
It's like 1 hour of my day gone to nothing. But some days, yeah, you love to interact. And work-wise, again, it's a hiring problem, not a people problem. You just hire people who will be honest with what they do, regardless of remote or in person. And in terms of trying to build culture, what we do is we'll do like we'll do like a full team call at 9:30 in the morning, where we just share updates, what we're doing today, what we're doing tomorrow. There's a second call that happens in the evening, which I am not a part of because I disrupt too much. But no, the second call that happens that's more tech specific that I don't always join. And then every Friday evening, we do like a super chill call where like we don't talk about work, we don't like talk about anything related to Crossval. We'll talk about whatever we're doing over the weekend or what we've learned over the week or like conspiracy theories or whatever else that we want to talk about. And we try to have our cameras on for that, so that's a bit more human. The other thing I'm thinking of is I went and looked at this office in DIFC, which I love. And it's a significant chunk of money.
Is it the one in the innovation one?
In the innovation, yeah.
Correct,
It's really a nice office. But I looked at what we could do with the same amount of money, and we could go on like 6 company-wide trips with that same pot of rent. And when we pay rent, it's not really useful to us, but we do these 6 trips, maybe like 4 times, 5 times a year. Productivity will be through the roof. Everyone will be super happy. Everyone will know each other. all of this, right? So yeah, we really try to think like how to spend in a wiser manner. And as much as I want the office, I don't think we'll pay for it, because at the end of the day, it's just a place to work from. You can work from anywhere. Again, it comes down to the team. Like we chat about this all the time. Like if we get the office, how realistically speaking, super honestly, how many days will we be in? At max 3. Now 3 days of like a week in a whole year is very little time to pay that much. So what we do is right now everyone's got like a supplementary card like of the bank, of the company bank account, and they have like it's got access to funds, and you can just go spend that wherever you want to, like of course coffee shops or workspaces. It's just the money we pay for rent, it's on those cards. And go utilize it, and people seem to be happier that way, because
that
if
is
you want to run your own schedule, right? Like
that is significantly a better culture compared to getting an office, putting a ping pong table in there.
it's easy right now because we're like, it's a small team, but once it gets bigger, I don't know what we're gonna do, and I'll see.
That's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, it's a good problem to have, but also I don't want to get too big. Like it's that whole 2 pizza rule, right? Like if you're ordering more than 2 pizzas to your team, it's too big. Yeah, so it's
What is the rationale behind the 2 pizza thing?
I don't know. It's just something Jeff Bezos said, and everyone listens to it. Yeah, it says if you need to order more than 2 pizzas to feed your team, it's too
It's
big.
bold of him to say, considering how big of a company.
Yeah, I mean, at scale, like it's not company, it's team, right? So if you as a manager, if your team is bloated, then you're probably wasting a lot of time managing people than doing the work. Like that, right? Even right now, there's a very little amount of management that we try to do. Everyone is an adult. Everyone manages themselves. Of course, like leaves and things. Honestly, we don't even track leaves. Like if you want a day off, take it. And the funny part is when we never had any other policy, but based on research I've read, when companies implement policies like that, people just self-correct, because only the people who enjoy their work stick around. The people who don't find fulfillment don't stick around, and that's fine. Yeah, so it works. A lot of these rules exist because, yeah, of course, once you're at 200, 500, 800 employees, you need rules, because there's always going to be someone who tries to game the system. But when you're a small, tight-knit team, everyone's aligned, everyone's sort of very clear on what we're trying to do. And they get that, the faster and harder we work, the easier it is for my teammate to move. So we're structured like a sports team. We're not. Also, it's so corny when people say we're a family at work. We're more like a sports team where we try to help each other as much as we can and move quickly. And then, like, if I don't know about the office thing, but I think I like the trip idea more than the rent idea.
There's actually like a study where I think they piloted in Finland, if I'm not wrong. So instead of a 5-day work week, they did a 4-week work week, and this was in a larger company as well, right? Not like a small 6 people, 5 people team. It was like a significantly larger company, and they saw productivity like shoot through the roof because people get more time to sleep, more time to relax, more downtime, right? So all the scientific empirical evidence points to the fact that giving more time does work, but still for some reason there is a common consensus against that thing, right? Like it's a weird, what do you say, something's right and you think study all this and do the wrong thing sort of a situation.
Again, like a lot of these things are hiring issues that we try to fix by creating rules. Like if you have to force your team to come into the office, again, like at scale this is very hard to solve because it's just so many people. But when you're early and when it's like your first 20-30 employees, you solve this in your hiring interview, not in your rule book. Just hire a person who won't,
who won't do game
who
the
won't
system.
abuse the policy or who won't game the system or whatever. Just hire someone who's excited about building what you're building, not someone who's like trying to get their 50 days off in a year or whatever, 30 days off in a year.
22 days.
Yeah. It's really a hiring issue. But of course, I mean, it's like 500 people. You can't really do this. How many people are you going to talk to as the founder or as the CEO? And then that's where like that trickle-down effect comes into play, where if
you have to get an HR, the HR does the job, then the HR has a team.
And then somewhere along the line, it will get diluted and you have to accept that. But
and how do you have any openings in your company?
Yeah, I mean, we always do, but we're hiring more for tech right now.
Tech.
So
How do
You know, someone
if
who can, someone we are hiring like tomorrow. We will hire them. Is someone who can do UI UX on Figma.
okay,
Yeah. So if you guys know anyone who's watching,
talk to you
reach
after.
out. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I know a couple of people.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions?
I think
So you've been oddly
it's-
silent. So first time hosting. So
Okay.
Yeah.
usually me and Guhaesh host, or
Okay.
we used to have like another host who couldn't come today. So
Okay.
we're just switching things up, learning. Like she wants to host, but it's
Yeah.
very quiet for a host.
So,
I think, yeah. Good.
So how has all this been so far? Like, what is your plans tomorrow?
tomorrow, what am I doing? Yeah, I've got a couple meetings, the usual.
Weekends?
Yeah, I always tell my team I don't really do any work. I'm always on calls.
Yeah, that I've seen, right? Like when you grow to a certain level, right? People like the CEOs and the founders, they just become glorified email senders. Right?
Yeah, but like it, as much as I will say it's not real work, it is also real work. Yeah, it's.
You seem like you're justified.
I am. I justify this to myself every day. Every morning when we have that call at 9:30, everyone has like a proper update, and I'm like, yeah, I'm speaking to 13 people today. And the funny part is, it's for a lot of businesses is what keeps the business going.
Yeah.
So, as a founder or as a CEO, I think it is your primary responsibility to, like, we don't have a sales team, right?
Correct,
So
yeah.
I'm essentially the sales and the product guy for our company. And both of these roles require me to talk to people. One, to talk to clients. One requires me to talk to investors, talk to people, talk to potential employees. And yeah, you do have to be careful that it doesn't sort of occupy your whole life. Because I like to spend a lot of time with the team, and I like to get into what we're building and understand the product and stuff. But in parallel to that, I also have to do all this other stuff where I'm always on calls.
Yeah, it's
and
essential,
talk.
especially in a business like this. You
Yeah.
have to be on client calls. You have
Yeah,
to talk
yeah.
to people, prospect, everything.
But yeah, that's what tomorrow looks like. I
Yes.
think it's calls, and then we'll do the team call. It's Friday tomorrow, right? Yeah,
Mm.
we'll do the team call. That should be fun. And
Oh yeah, that is one
Yeah.
question, right? Like I asked you, like, would you be free on Saturday, and you
Yeah.
immediately shot me with a no as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
weekends are like protected
Downtimes?
time, dude. Absolutely, I will. Weekends are literally the same every weekend.
Mm.
Saturday I'll be cycling. Sunday I'll either take the day off or I'll just rest and run or something.
Mm.
Yeah, either with family or like with my friends or something. And yeah, that's just sacred time, and I don't even like look at my laptop. Of course, some days yeah you have to, but on most of the days I'll just not do any work.
Considering you're like this, right? You have a particular time for everything and things, right? How many of your friends hate you?
They don't actually. They're very supportive. I've been very lucky to have like really good friends who supported sort of the goals over the years, and it works out nicely for them because when I'm with them, I have nothing going on. I have no laptop, no phone.
Yeah, that is actually like sometimes we
100%
go
of my
out.
Yeah, they don't have a reason to not like him.
Yeah,
He makes time for them. He gives them his 100%.
You know, the
it was there is of course there was conflict when we were a bit younger when everyone wanted to drink and party, and I was like no, I just want to focus, and then I'd do both. I'm not saying I would just work all the time, but now we're all at an age where we're all sort of a bit more laid back, where we just want to hang out when everyone wants to hang out. It's not we have to go out tonight. There's none of that anymore. Yeah, so I think everyone's come around, and it's a good filtration system. The ones that didn't understand, good. The ones that do, they stick around. But
and you know,
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
not just that, like one more very important, like, or a very annoying thing I find is like when you're out with dinner with friends, they hold up their phone and text somebody.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the most annoying
Yeah.
thing. Like no matter what I have, like when I'm eating or when I'm with my friends, my phone's away.
Yeah.
Right, no matter what it is,
Always.
like unless there is a call which I have to definitely
Yeah.
pick, silent, right?
Yeah.
Like don't do it, right? But when somebody does the other way, like when we're talking to them and they're like sitting right next to you and like texting, is kind of the most
Yeah.
of thing you can.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
like, it's
absolutely.
disrespectful as well, right?
Yeah, but because like you're a friend and I'm a friend,
Yeah.
you don't think of it
Yeah.
as disrespectful. If
Yeah.
I did it
Correct.
with my parents, they would be like, right? But like if you doing it friends, it doesn't register to you who's doing it that this is disrespectful, and it
Correct.
doesn't register to me who's watching you do it that it's disrespectful. You
Yeah.
just feel ignored a little bit.
Correct.
But to have that filter between like this is work, this is friends,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah, I think it does more. It's got more benefit than sort of negatives.
yeah. But
'Cause-
you're not half-assing any of them.
exactly. Yeah,
Right, you're-
that makes it so easy.
Doing it properly, whatever
yeah.
you're doing. That is also the problem with like the serial entrepreneurs we see, right? Serial
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, they put their legs in like multiple ponds and then half-assing everything, right? Like they
Yeah.
don't fully do this. What do you think of that, especially because you work with like venture capital and private equity? Have you seen people like that? What were your thoughts about that?
Some people can do it. A very, 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 very like extremely small subset of the world can do entrepreneurship, and a smaller subset of that can do multiple sort of serial entrepreneurship. I mean, serial entrepreneurship is also funny because some people are like, "Oh, I'll build a startup for 5 years and then I'll build my next one," and they're a serial entrepreneur, which is fine.
Yeah.
There are also people who will do 5 startups in 1 year,
Yeah.
and that is also called a serial entrepreneur. Some people are able to do it, but it takes a lot of time and takes a lot of money. Time and money are almost interchangeable to some extent. Like if you have money, you can buy people's time and have 10 people build 5 companies for you, which is one way to do it. But I see like first-time founders trying to build 2 businesses at once.
No.
Very difficult. It's not easy. Unless you have a co-founder and stuff, then that makes it easier. Or like if one business makes a lot of money and then you funnel that into the other business, that also works. But if you're building 2 early stage businesses in one go, it's really hard. And yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think I can do that. Personally, I think I want to do another business once I'm done with this one. But I don't know. Again, it's a very personal thing. I don't really have an opinion on it. The funny part about entrepreneurship is you have ideas for the longest time and you don't execute on any of them. And then you find one that you do execute on. And then you have all these ideas. You continue to have ideas, right? And then you just don't have the time to build anything else. Like I have at least maybe an idea a month nowadays. And I'll talk to people about it. They'll be like, yeah, it's super viable. You should do it. And I don't end up doing it. I'm not saying I don't get the time or anything. I just don't end up doing it because it will sort of take up a priority and it will make things difficult. It's not easy. It's exciting, but it's not easy.
The excitement won't last, right? It like fizzles out over a period
Yeah.
because you're doing multiple things at the same time.
Yeah.
You won't be able to contribute equally to everything every time all the
Yeah.
time. Right? It's
Yeah, there was this. There's a co-founder of Waze in DIFC the other day. He
Waze.
launched his the
the
map
map.
app.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
He launched his new book there, and it was pretty cool. We like listened to a talk of his for like an hour, and he said like when you start building a startup, it's like the first time you fall in love. You go on the first date, you introduce them to your friends. Your friends tell you, "Nah, it's not gonna work out," whatever. But you remain obsessed with it. You continue to do it, and when you go through that process, you have to be sort of solely focused on that. You can't have let me handle my job and a third business or like a second business or whatever. Yeah, so first time entrepreneurs, I think, again, it's all a function of like how much time and money you have. If you have like $50 million, yeah, like you can start 5 businesses too, no problems, because you have like a $10 million seed round for each business. But if you have no money, you start just do one. Like that.
Do one, do properly.
Yeah. Again, it also comes. It's no hard and fast rule, right? So
Yeah,
like,
it's no. There's no
entrepreneurship,
playbook to
yeah,
this,
there's no
right? It's
playbook.
just
Some people can figure it out, but
correct.
I think it's a function of time and money. Depends how much you have of each.
But if you're coming from that, the venture capital route and you're seeing it through, people who's funding these things, right? What do you would you prefer to invest in a serial entrepreneur doing 50
oh, absolutely. Oh no, sorry. Finish.
doing 5 different things at the same time, or would you invest in somebody who's had a proven record but doing one after one after one with serial entrepreneur?
Yeah, the one after the other.
One after.
Yeah.
Is there any particular reason from a venture capital perspective, not from?
It gets easier, man. Like if I was to do Crossval again,
No.
I could do what we've done in like 1.5, 2 years in 3 months.
Okay.
Because you know what works, you know what doesn't work. Of course, there'll be some business specific stuff, but
Some of the core functions would be.
yeah,
better.
you know exactly what mistakes to not make, what mistakes to make. People believe in you in a lot more. That's why second-time founders will always raise much
A
more
lot
money
more
and
money,
a much
yeah,
higher
always.
valuation.
Especially not just that, like a lot of people raise money based on their previous credentials. I worked at Microsoft, I
Yeah,
worked at PwC, that.
That doesn't count so much, but I mean it plays a role, but it doesn't count towards success. But having been an entrepreneur before, huge difference, right? It's a skill set that you just can't learn at a job. You can't learn doing anything else. Maybe from sport, I've heard that sport performance is a big indicator of business performance because you're managing a lot of similar stuff. You start out alone, you have to put in a lot more work and discipline before you become anything. It's a big emotional journey, and it requires balance and all of this stuff, right? So that's a metric a lot of US VCs use to judge, how an entrepreneur will perform. But outside of that, there's very little. There's very little you can go off of. But yeah, doing it a second time is like having the playbook in front of you.
I think we can wrap it up.
Cool.
Thank you for being here. How do people reach out to you? How do people check out Crossval? Who is Crossval for? Not for general audiences, but who is it exactly for? And how do they just
So if you're an entrepreneur who's starting a business, wants to figure out financial models and things, you can reach out. How you can reach out: Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. It's all on there. Or you can just message him and he'll connect you. Or just if you're a CFO who's trying to make their life easier, or if you're just someone who's like considering entrepreneurship, I love to talk to people like that. So please reach out, and I will most likely encourage you to do it.
How do people reach out to you specifically?
Just email like Ajinkya@crossval.com, or just like Google stuff. You'll find it. I'm super responsive everywhere, and I'm not like flooded in terms of any inbound. So it's all my spam goes to spam directly. So I'm very responsive.
All right. Thank you very much.
No
Thank
problem.
you so
All
much.
right.
Thanks for
we
having
can
me.
call it a wrap.
Cool.